So what do we do with all this? I'd like to recommend some practices. And when I teach, I often recommend this to other people as well. So there's a couple things that we can do. And I think most religious and spiritual traditions follow this kind of guideline. You know, one, I think it's important to maintain regular contact with some kind of inspirational writing. And that doesn't have to be a religious writing. It could be something that, an inspirational book. It could be poetry. It could be some wonderful literature that elevates you and inspires you. And keep connection with that. Keep it by your bed. Keep it available to you. Return to it. For me, I have certain books that I return to. I have certain movies that I love. I see The Chosen, or I love Groundhog Day, by the way, if you ever seen it. I love that one. So I return to those things, and those remind me, right, of who I really am and what's really possible. It's important to develop a gratitude practice, and I have to confess it's something I don't do enough of. I have a little tradition that on my train ride, I have a 45-minute train ride in and out of Manhattan, I do a meditation at that time. And that meditation begins with gratitude. And that's my few moments of gratitude. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my beautiful wife. I'm grateful for my kids, thank God, are well. I'm grateful for my job. You don't have to be grateful for something amazing, right? Within Jewish tradition, there's something called Nisim B'chol Yom, which means everyday miracles. And every morning when you wake up, you don't say, thank you for parting the Red Sea. You say, thank you that I'm alive for another day. Thank you for my body, which I know I didn't create. Thank you for my friends who put up with me. Thank you for my wife, especially, who puts up with me. Thank you for my wonderful job. Thank you for everything that's come to me that I didn't earn. Right? Sri Kumar Rao, who's a good friend of mine, who wrote a terrific book called Are You Ready to Succeed?, recommends that every evening before you go to bed, you make a list of these things. And it could be the same thing every single night. But when you make that list and you go to bed, you're going to feel much better and sleep much better and wake up much more optimistic. Become sensitive to your inner voices and listen for the direction. We all have all kinds of voices in our head. Right? We have the voice of ambition, we have the voice of desire, we have the voice of hunger. We have all these voices. The voice of insecurity, the voice of need. And these are all our voices. And we tend to think when they come up that they're real and they're true and they're telling us the truth. The reality is we've created most of these voices in our head based on our past experiences. You know, I have a personal experience that I like to share, that when I was about 9, I always wanted to help my father. You know, I always looked up to him and wanted to be helpful. And he was fixing a lawnmower. And I ran into the garage saying, Dad, can I help you with the lawnmower? And he was getting frustrated, and I think he had hurt himself fixing the lawnmower, and he was in a bad mood. And he said, go get me the wrench. I ran over and I picked up a pair of pliers, not knowing the difference. And I gave it to him, and he was in such a bad mood, he tossed the wrench across the room and said, that's why I never ask you for help. You can't tell the difference between a wrench and a plier. Right? He was in a bad mood, nothing to it. I could have interpreted that 100 ways. He's in a bad mood, now I know. I interpreted it as, I'm incompetent. Right? That's a story I told myself. And I lived with that story for years until you wake up one day and you go, I just made that up. I could make up a different story. So within most traditions, there's another voice in your head. The Bible calls it the still small voice. Right? And you can hear it. Meditation allows you to tune into it. Prayer allows you to tune into it. Just quiet all that other stuff. Get past that, and you're going to hear that voice. And when you connect it to that voice, you're going to transform in ways you can't imagine. I promise you. So make a practice to do that. Open your heart to other people. Martin Buber, the great Jewish philosopher, said that I only become me when I see you. And then once I see you, I know who I am. That we can't be ourselves unless we're in connection. That it's connection with other people that tells us who we are. And that when we live closed off, living only for ourselves, our heart not open to other people, unable to connect with people as fellow human beings, right, we suffer. Once we open ourselves to other people, we grow. And then, I think lastly, enter in service. Before I did this speech, and before I do a wedding with my wife, or before we do bar mitzvah, or I lead a prayer service, or before I used to do my Monday morning things, if I'm doing a prayer service, I put my talit over my head, my prayer shawl over my head, and I make a little prayer. And I say, may what I'm about to say not be about me. May it be in service of other people, and may they receive something from me that is helpful to them. You know, I'm going to get a little bit but so when I say that, it always happens. And when I say that with sincerity, and I've learned, suddenly it occurred to me, I could do that at work. I could walk into a meeting and say, and lead a meeting. When I have my staff meetings with my staff every Monday, and I tried this. When I'm about to do, may this be for their benefit, to make their jobs easier, to make them feel better about their work, that I can share what I know with them, but I could also learn from them. And that's had a powerful change for me in terms of how I treat those meetings. So enter in service. I want to close by offering this, if I could, and then we'll have some time for questions and answers. And I'd like to, in the spirit of service, and I hope you hear this correctly, I'd like to offer this to you. In the Bible is the priestly benediction, which is the oldest prayer known to mankind. It's 3,500 years old. It's been said by priests and rabbis, and ever since, parents say it to their children before they go to bed. And it's a threefold prayer. And in Hebrew, it's very amazing because the first sentence is 3 words. The second sentence is 5 words. The third sentence is 7 words. So it's like if you know Maslow and his hierarchy of needs, it's about a hierarchy of needs. The first blessing, the short one, is for physical sustenance, right? Just may you physical, and I'll tell you in a minute. The second blessing is for emotional, and the last blessing is for spiritual sustenance. So I'd like to offer this blessing to you, if I could. I'll say it in Hebrew, and I'll tell you what it is in English. So, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the face of the divine always be upon you and grant you peace for all the days of your lives. And that's my blessing and wish for all of you. So thank you for listening. Well, thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed it.